Yeah.
I do want to ask you this. Would you say grunge was born in Seattle?
Yes.
Hey, blast off, I can talk my ass off. Hey, smoke you what you seen and I'll tell you what I saw.
Hollywood, what you think, and I'll tell you what I thought.
And we can talk about it all when we hear on Trash Talk.
What's going on, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Trash Talkers podcast.
We made it.
We made it, Smoke Diggity Dog.
What up?
Listen, man.
Uh-huh.
Again, we can't thank you guys enough for all the positive receptions, but I just want to dive right into this one, bro.
Do ya?
I do. All right. Earlier today, we were talking about how do genres even get created?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, elaborate on that. Like, think you got so many genres. You got jazz, blues, punk, rap, rock,
yeah,
grunge.
and various subsets of all of those genres too. You know what I think? I think it's all just innovation. Like, you basically, like, well, let's think about this. How did music start? Did someone just discover a rhythm one day, you think?
And called it music?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is it true, though? Because if you go back to, like, medieval days, you hear, like, at least the depictions that we have of music, it's usually just, like, some kind of string instrument, ding, 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 ding. Or, like Beethoven and guys like that. It's just the piano and, no beat.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point in time, the beat came in to keep the rhythm.
Right.
When did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, that's the question. I would argue that the rhythm came before the instruments, because if you go back to, like, early Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just beating on drums, or Native Americans just beating on drums,
Mm-hmm. True.
you could say that possible. I would almost willing to bet that. If you go back to primitive man, when we were, I'm trying. What's the
caveman?
Yeah, when you're caveman, I'm sure you hit a sound like, oh, I like it. But the thing is, what develops? Like, one could say, well, hey, how does the human brain develop? But think about it. If we go from beating on a wall to get a sound, right?
Yeah.
How did we come up with grunge?
Grunge.
How did
Well, I was thinking too, like, how did rhythm, like, was rhythm discovered or invented? That comes back to, like, the fire. Fire wasn't invented; it was discovered at some point, right?
I would say discovered.
So, well, were they just like somebody was tapping, and they just inherently thought, well,
yeah,
well, that's a rhythm, right?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And then the people's, like, started dancing.
It's like or not even that. It's like the thing you'll hear just do, 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 and then you'll come in.
Yeah.
And then somebody else will say, hey, I got a.
It's crazy to think that all organically just flowed together somehow. And, they would just start adding different sounds in there.
Right.
But, I don't know. I'm just fascinated by thinking, like, how did it just come together?
Yeah. Like, let's take a genre today. Let's talk about grunge.
Grunge. Okay.
When did grunge start? How did it start? Where did it come from? Because before you answer, what came before grunge to make, or because I know you said in previous reactions that music usually evolves into something else. So what did grunge evolve from?
Grunge was kind of a de-evolution, a devolving. Because you think about it, okay, so rock comes in, rock gets big, rock starts getting heavier and more distorted, right? Mm-hmm. And so eventually you got, like, glam. The glam scene happens. And that was the main genre in rock during that time. This was after, the psychedelic blues movement and all that, and they just kept getting bigger and more flashier and playing faster, So the biggest scene at the time when grunge came out was glam, hair metal, things like that.
By the way, this is coming from two rappers.
Yeah, exactly. And feel free to give us your interpretation
Please.
And how you believe all this went down. But at some point in time, I think people started looking at it and go, what would be innovative? Like, we've gone so far in this one direction. Wouldn't it be innovative to just go backwards and make it more basic and more simple?
Yeah.
And the grunge scene, I think, grew out of that, is kind of a counterculture to the big, flashy, flamboyant things that was happening in music.
Right. Like, I remember, we had did the previous Pearl Jam video, and you said, you would see, like, you'll see Kiss out, and Kiss, they got their makeup. But then, like you said, maybe it de-evolved where you got these guys out at the grocery store with makeup, big old hair. But then you hear Pearl Jam, and this guy's at the grocery store in his regular everyday clothes, going to the studio.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it devolved almost.
I think it did devolve. It was like we went so far in one direction
it had to come back.
The cool thing after that was to go back to more basic, more simple stuff. And you had the guitars. It was distorted guitars, of course, but it wasn't like the high screaming, like you would
super
see.
fast playing.
Yeah.
See, but it had a lot of chunky elements. But now, if you're saying it probably started with glam didn't really have.
No, it didn't really grow out of the glam scene. It was just a result of the glam scene, in my opinion, because I think it got so far that it almost became cringy and cheesy after a while, to where they're like, it'd be a lot cooler, because every generation looks at the generation before and says, oh, that's kind of cringy, and I want to do something different.
Right.
So I think once you go so far, so flamboyant, so flashy,
you got to reel it in a little bit.
Yeah, like the next generation comes along and says, all right, we're going to do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So instead of just building off of that genre, we're going to take it back into something more basic and more simple.
All right, so just asking you, me and we've heard grunge before we started doing Rappers React, but when do you think grunge was first? Like, give me a era, like a 10-year thing. Was it 70s, 80s? Or was it 80s to 90s?
I mean, I guess you could always argue the throwback, if it's a throwback to something of an earlier time. But I want to say is, the official grunge scene, what became grunge, and then alternative.
Go ahead.
Was around late 80s, 88, 89. Because you think about it, Alice in Chains and bands like that were originally doing the glam thing.
Oh.
Before they got with the new wave.
Were they really? First of all, what do you call glam? Just hair metal?
Yeah. Just... the flashiness, it was a whole culture rather than just a particular sound. It was the whole culture of it, the glittery things, the shiny outfits, the spandex and bright colors.
And Alice in Chains did that?
Yeah.
So what made them change from that to...
I think it was a new wave and them just saying, hey, that genre is dying.
Wait a minute.
So let's get with the new rather than sticking with the old.
So then that brings up another question. If they, I don't know if you were just throwing them out as, using them as an example, but are you saying Alice in Chains were the pioneers of the genre?
Well,
grunge?
See, that's the thing. From what the comments have said is that, I want to say that maybe Mother Love Bone. Can we look this up? Because we've never covered Mother Love Bone.
Sure. What's your
question? I want to know, when did Mother Love Bone start? And if that is the inception of grunge.
Okay.
Can we get just a basic synopsis of who they were?
Okay, so Mother Love Bone was an American rock band that formed in Seattle. Some would say the home of...
Yeah, where the grunge scene grew out of, yes.
Yes, in 1988.
88. So the time... The time span would be correct.
Well, let's look at Alice in Chains. When was Alice in Chains formed? So Alice in Chains was formed in 1987. Wait, so that means...
But they were doing the glam thing at the beginning.
Yeah, but... Okay, wait. It says Alice in Chains was formed in 1987 by Jerry Cantrell and drummer Sean Kinney, who then recruited bassist Mike Starr and singer Lane Staley. The band signed to Columbia Records in 1989. Wow, so you could say, man, is Alice in Chains the first? I mean, I know you say they were glam.
They were at the forefront, but maybe. Well, I just Googled who invented grunge. And it says Nirvana's frontman Kurt Cobain, in one of his final interviews, credited Jonathan Pondman, co-founder of Sub Pop, with coining the term grunge. Okay, so that's the name.
All right, so hold on. all right, so
This one says, did Nirvana create grunge?
it says, just like any subgenre, it's impossible to name one band as the true originators of grunge, but it had to start somewhere. And no, it wasn't with Nirvana, though they had obviously they had an obvious impact on whether the scene went to. To put it simply, grunge was basically a blend of punk, hard rock, and metal.
But there had to be one band who stepped out and did it first.
Like, hey, well, what he said, John who?
Oh, that's who coined the term.
Right. So tell me his name.
Jonathan Poneman.
Okay.
P-O-N-E-M, or is it Poneman? P-O-N-E-M-A-N.
All right. So, yeah, I got you.
Co-founder of Sub Pop.
Okay, so he is co-founder of 2 record labels. So all right, okay. So he was a record label owner, or the owner of a record label, and maybe he coined the term and started signing people. Man, this is where we gotta need help from the trash talk, because we can sit here and Google this, but again, you guys are more informative. So, did he have something to do with Mother Love Bone? Did he have something to do with Alice in Chains? Did he have something to do with Nirvana? And again, it's just crazy to see where it grew out of, because look at where we are now. First of all, you can find anything you want on the internet right now.
Yeah.
Anything you want to find. If you want to find the newest grunge artist, there's an artist right now that's putting out grunge type feel music in 2022.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you look at if Mother Love Bone started it, which we haven't checked it out, what do you look
They
at?
weren't on Sub Pop. They were on Mercury Records.
Okay.
Wonder, was it American band in 1988, as you said?
No, you're right.
Hmm.
So,
But I know in the comments, people have said that it was Mother Love Bone.
all right, so, and one thing I do like about grunge, and kind of jumping a little bit here, but I like how grunge bands actually work with each other. And I know we did conspiracy, because think about it. You got Temple of the Dog, that's a collective, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mad Season was also, that was Lane Staley when he took a break from Alice in Chains.
But we've never done Mad Season. Is Mad Season grunge?
Yeah, I think they would be labeled as grunge.
Is Temple of the Dog grunge?
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I gotta look that up.
No, you're good. I mean, I know it has elements of it, and again, these are bands that we haven't checked out. So Temple of the Dog, it says Temple of the Dog is an American rock supergroup that was formed by Seattle, Washington. Again, vocalist Chris Cornell of Soundgarden. Yeah. So I would say Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
That's grunge.
I mean, well, that reminds you of hip hop too.
All the artists wants to collab
together. Well, think about it. Alice or Lane Staley with Tool.
Yeah.
Tool that's a fascinating thing too. Is Tool was originally in the grunge scene.
Yes.
Yeah, before they eventually, I guess, crossed over into prog.
I want to read the comments on this, because I'm pretty sure I have seen the comments where people have said Mother Love Bone. But god damn, one could say Tool was the biggest but then again, Tool, you're doing a lot of Googles today.
I know.
What you got?
We need the information.
What you
got? When was Tool formed? Do you remember?
I want to say the Tool was first
91.
I think they released in 91, but they formed in like 89, I think.
90. Okay, yeah.
So 1990, but okay, so Mother Love Bone put that album out in 88.
Yeah.
Alice in
Chains was out in 87. But like I said, they were doing the glam thing at first.
Right.
And Lane actually had a different band. I can't remember the name of it right offhand, but he was in a different band. I think it was 2 different bands before Alice in Chains, but then when he formed Alice in Chains, they were originally more glam.
Jerry Cantrell formed it. Actually, I think Lane came last.
Was it last?
I think Jerry Cantrell.
No, I think he had Alice in Chains, and then there was a reiteration with Jerry Cantrell, and then they renamed that band.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
I remember watching it on the Lane Staley documentary.
See, you did watch that. So what I'm going is because I just read this. Alice in Chains was formed in 1997 by guitarist Jerry Cantrell.
87.
87 by Jerry Cantrell and drummer Sean Kinney, who then recruited bassist Mike Starr and singer Lane Staley.
Uh-huh.
So,
but they obviously had a different name.
I think they probably had a different name.
Yeah.
Again, y'all let us know.
And then when Lane comes on, they renamed the band Alice in Chains. I believe that's how it works. Now, if I'm wrong, tell me in the comments.
Yeah, please educate us. This is why we're doing this. This is how me and Smoke Dog talk on a normal basis, and you guys are part of this conversation here. So, I think one reason me and you do like the grunge sound, other than it having the chunky riffs, it having the nice cadences, it has the good flow, is. Being two rappers ourselves, we like to work with other people. Hey, give me one of your beats. Hey, why don't you hop on my song? And same thing with grunge, they work within each other. And I'm sure that some of these bands, like, didn't you tell me like Nirvana had beef with wasn't it Alice in Chains or no? Maybe I'm tripping, but I think Nirvana or Alice in Chains had beef. Somebody had beef within the grunge community. I can't remember.
I want to say that Kurt Cobain actually had some beef with Tool at one point in time.
And we did beefs in music, but I don't think we brought that up, did we?
No, that wasn't part of. I don't think it was an agreed upon thing. I think. So if I remember right, Kurt Cobain was doing an interview, and Tool had dropped their first video, and the style of it. I remember Kurt said, I do remember. Oh, they ripped that style off from the Quay brothers. Right. And he said, I hope they get sued over it. Dude. You know? So, in hip hop, if you say that publicly, that's a beef.
Yeah, that ain't cool, Kurt. I mean, rest his soul, you know. But, okay, let's talk about this. All right. I know we said that we'll just touch on this quickly, but in the beef in hip hop, Kurt Cobain, young Kurt Cobain against young Maynard, who wins?
Oh, now young Maynard,
but he wasn't into jiu-jitsu
yet,
exactly.
I don't know. Oh, that's tough right there.
Damn, trash talkers. Who wins that fight?
Yeah, who wins if young Kurt Cobain fought young Maynard?
Oh,
I don't know. For some reason, Kurt seems kind of passive. You know, like I don't know that Kurt would fight, like physically fight.
Okay.
I know, and like he was not afraid to say things about people.
Yeah, but he ain't gonna be all up in your face.
Yeah, would he actually fight?
All right, how about this? Question. How about this? Maynard versus Lane.
Oh, Maynard.
You think?
Yeah, because I don't know how Lane was in his early days, but in the end, he was really small and frail. And,
going through those.
You know, hiding and.
Yeah. But getting off the topic of the grunge, we're getting off the topic of the grunge situation. Do you think there's so many big bands that came through, you know, the inception of grunge? You got Stone Temple Pilots. I mean, making huge. Yeah. Dude, trash talkers don't kill me. I have seen some people refer to Nickelback as grunge. I swear. I have seen some. Yes.
I know Creed because
Creed?
They had that style when they first came out, and he did the yarling and all that.
So Pearl Jam, is that?
What about them?
Is that? Would you say that's grunge?
Yeah.
What about Smashing Pumpkins?
I mean, yeah, definitely. They were thrown in the grunge scene. That was the thing. After the scene grew out of Seattle, there were bands all around the country that started getting into grunge. Smashing Pumpkins were around before then. They were around in the 80s also. But they kind of morphed their style to fit the grunge scene after a while. So, like you said... Even, I want to say, and I know there's probably some Smashing Pumpkins fans out there who would really take exception to this, but he changed his style, or at least Billy Corgan changed the style a few times based on what was hot in music at the time, because even you could say when Marilyn Manson came out and you know that industrial style was big, they started altering their style, and you know you get like in spite of my rage I am still just a rat in a cage, which was more kind of going away from the grunge sound a little bit and more toward that new industrial style that was being pushed.
Do you think 9 Inch Nails are ever put into the grunge category?
I bet they were thrown in there, but really they're more, you know, industrial Ministry type, you know, stuff like that.
So all right,
which that's another discussion we could have one day. Is
what you got? Let's talk about
the inception of industrial.
Yeah, I mean,
and how it grew out of basically new wave and techno and things like that. You know,
we can talk about all genres. How that's. I mean, we're talking about grunge today. The next one we can go to wherever you want to go. Yeah. You know, I do want to ask you this. Would you say grunge was born in Seattle?
Yes.
Okay. Why that sound from that place? Why those lyrics from that place?
I think it's got a lot to do with the
weather,
zeitgeist of the city. Yeah,
okay.
the general feel. I mean, a lot of people do point out the weather and how it's dark and gray and dismal so much of the time, and it lends itself to depressive music.
Yeah.
I mean, just like inner city culture would lend itself toward the lyrics of hip hop.
I knew you were about to say that.
Or the Mississippi Delta back in the day, the oppression, the poor people, would definitely be singing blues and things like that.
Right, but with that style of singing, with the style of lyric delivery coming out of Seattle, what is it about the weather? I know you could easily just say, oh, it's vitamin. You're not getting enough vitamin D from the sun.
Yeah.
Or vitamin B or vitamin which one?
D.
Vitamin D from the sun. So yes, you're obviously going to be more down. More in the dumps. But why does that? Scientifically, if you can even speak on that, other than there not being a lot amount of sun, why does that kind of weather, why does that kind of environment breed this kind of music?
Well, you got to think. I mean, it's more than just the sun.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
It's the whole environment. Yes, it's dismal and rainy a lot.
Well, look at it from this point of view, like England.
Yeah.
Why don't we have it
is rainy there a lot. Also.
Why hasn't England got a big grunge scene?
Maybe they did. I know they had their own style of music too, but maybe there was a grunge scene happening around England also.
But I felt like I interrupted you when you were about to talk about.
I mean, there was a blues scene happening. If you go back far enough, think about Led Zeppelin. People credit them to as reforming the old blues sound,
right,
and putting that out, and that they could be prone to doing blues because of their environment.
So. Okay, you were talking about the weather and the environment, and you say, well, it's not necessarily the sun. Then what else could it be? What else is making these dark, sad, lonely lyrics? I mean...
just the general oppressiveness of being in a big city. And, that's a progressive city, too.
What do you mean when you say progressive?
Progressive meaning... Oh, well, I don't want to get into politics, but the city tends to be more left-leaning,
Okay, well, what does that have to do with depressive and all?
I'm just pointing out the general environment of the city.
Yeah, and that's like.
But I mean, you could get that sound coming out of Atlanta. Think about Smashing Pumpkins. We're in Chicago.
Yeah.
Which is a big city, and people who are stuck in a city. Okay, big cities tend to be a higher rate of depression.
Right.
Rather than the country.
Right. So, but why? Is it because people are
you're packed together. Yeah, you're packed together. You feel insignificant because there's so many people around you.
Damn, that's what's so fascinating to me about certain types of music, and grunge has to be that, is because the atmosphere, the environment, the people around you developed a sound. Like, you just being around people created a genre. Like, that's crazy. Like, taking screwed and chopped music, that's why I'm so fascinated about it, other than this way it sounds, is there wasn't a thing until just people you hung out with, things that you're ingesting, and now, oh, this sounds good. So taking that back to grunge, it's like, hey,
that's another aspect.
Yeah.
The substances they're being used.
I was just about to go there.
Yeah.
So, hey, my friend might be on these substances and just broke up with his girlfriend, and it's been raining for the past 14 years. And now I'm just broken up with my girlfriend, and hey, let me try that. And then next thing you know, we're sitting down there, we're playing a girl. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, because we've gotten some amazing talent out of Seattle. But I think that's literally what it is. It's just the people, places, and things that you do that creates the sound. I mean,
absolutely, yeah. And Heroin was big in Seattle in those days. I mean, it may still be, but it was definitely big in the 90s in Seattle. And if you're prone to depression to begin with, you're definitely going to accentuate it using heroin. And that's what it is. It's originally someone would use it as an escape from the depression, right?
Yeah, the hero in you.
But just like opiates and most drugs in general, what it fixes in the beginning with constant use eventually accentuates the bad things that you were trying to cover up in the first place. Like pain. You take an opiate for pain, right? Eventually, you're going to make that pain worse by taking those opiates. Yeah, you might get that little bit of relief, but the time that you are not in the height of the euphoria, all the other times, that pain is going to be worse than before you started doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So with constant use of heroin, which is an opiate,
yes.
If you're using that to escape from depression,
right,
you're going to accentuate the depression with prolonged periods of use.
So sticking to the drug use here, going back to Alice in Chains, you had said they were a glam band first.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say Lane on substances when they were in their glam stage, or is it when he came over to?
I don't remember if that was in the documentary or not. If maybe he started using after
once he was in Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
So now here comes the question: would Alice in Chains be as big as they are? And Alice in Chains is still huge right now. I know trash talkers are going right now to go see them. But would Alice in Chains be as big as they were in that time period? Would Lane Staley be as big as he was in that time period if that substance was not available?
Good question. I think the lyrics would not be the same.
Now that
they would be altered.
Wait a minute. No, we don't know in the documentary. It said if Jerry Cantrell was he a user?
Don't recall right offhand. I can't say yes or no because I don't recall right offhand.
I mean, that guy is so freaking talented. And
but I know there were other band members that were into it.
Right. Well, what I was saying is I know Jerry writes almost all of the lyrics, I think. So if he wasn't on it, then hey, we got great. But see, again, that could be yes. Let's say Jerry wasn't doing it, and he wrote the lyrics for 90% of the songs, and Lane he conveyed the lyrics that Jerry wrote, and Lane happened to be on a substance, so you're gonna feel it more, right?
Yeah, but did Jerry write all the lyrics?
No, but I heard a good bit.
Yeah,
I heard a good bit. Actually, I'm gonna go.
But then again, you don't have to be on a substance to write deep and emotional lyrics.
Right. But what I asked you is, would there have been a star like Lane Staley at that stardom without the substance? But if you said, well, you wouldn't go get that deep of lyrics. But if he didn't write the lyrics, so you know what I mean? Like, you get it's
the lyrics. But he would also be feeling it different if he wasn't depressed. But I mean, okay, you could actually take the substance out because he may have still done the exact same thing without him. Yeah. I mean, you can't really. There's no way of telling whether he would have or not.
I mean, what do you think that is when people like they say, "Oh, I like the old Eminem," or "I like the old," when they were on drugs? Why you would think people would be more happy? Oh, you're off drugs now. Well, let's enjoy your music.
Because people grow affectionate toward the first thing they heard by them. Like, I mean, how many? Think of any artist, Eminem, 3 6 Mafia. Your favorite album tends to be the first one you heard.
Yeah.
So even though you might not agree with the substances they were using during that time, you're still going to be affectionate toward that style because that was the first thing you heard. And then an artist eventually grows and alters their sound because they want to be creative and they want to expand and they don't want to do the same thing over and over. But then the people are like, well, I love the original stuff much better.
And usually the original stuff is when you're young, dumb, and experimenting. Yeah. So it's like I mean, it's like I'd like to give you the older stuff, but I'm a sober person now, you know. And it's like it's almost like a catch-22. It's like you would think we'd be like you said, you're more prone to enjoy the type of music that you heard the first time from hearing them. Yeah. But it's like, hey, dude, I've been on drugs for those past 5 albums. Yes, they were great, and you're asking for the old me. I can't really deliver that. Yeah. And
you can try to replicate it, but usually it doesn't work out.
Like, man, even Kurt Cobain, dude, was he a user, you think? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But heroin, right?
Yeah.
And then, man, God, I don't want to give out some personal information. I do. All right, I'm just. This is to the podcast listeners here. So when I would do opiates, I would enjoy doing them when it rained. Like that was because I know some people like to get up and go. Me, when I would sip syrup, when I would take these pills, I wanted to be like rainy and overcast so I can just sit down and just enjoy the rain. Just a cool, peaceful day. I don't want to do nothing. So being the type of things that I created and the way that I acted and just wanted to chill with that rainy environment, I feel like in Seattle, maybe some of these bands, they get on heroin and they're just like, hey, I just want to, I mean, again, drugs affect people differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, when I would do it, I didn't want to make music. I just want to sit here and chill. So to hear it from someone who was on it, I guess for my brain, it's hard for me to wrap around that you can get up and go to the studio and do all this while you're in such a rainy environment. Everything's so slow and you're fucked up at the same time. You got to be a bad son of a bitch, bro.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are more productive when they do it at first. But that's the thing. That's why you hear about artists going into hiding after so many years.
Right.
Because at first it makes you get up and go do the stuff.
Right.
And then after a while, it has the reverse effect, like I was saying earlier.
Mm-hmm. You remember we did the unplugged version of Alice in Chains?
Nutshell?
Yes. Remember that? In the comments, people were saying that he was, I think you might have said it, that he was like withdrawing on stage. You know? Or
yeah, well, the story goes that he wanted... Wow, oh man, he wanted to do it right there, and the band was mad about it. They were like, "No, you can't do it.
Do it afterwards."
I think he had done something that day, but he wanted to do it right before they went on stage, and the band didn't want him to do it until after he finished the show because they didn't want him nodding off in the middle of a set.
Yeah, but what if that would have been? I mean, do you think he recorded like ever in the studio like that? I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
If he can do those, man, it's not, man. It might be. Yeah. Well, I think it might be Man in the Box, but I was watching this YouTube short, and they said there's a note in there that's virtually impossible for anyone else to hit. And if he was in the studio and he just happened to get that substance in him, he just hit a note that's virtually impossible to hit. If he can do that in the studio, why won't y'all let him do it out on the stage?
Because at that point in time, he was already so deep in his addiction that he was going to ruin the show.
Right.
Because I'm sure
and I'm not condoning this at all.
It had happened many a times before, probably.
Oh, and they're like, hey.
Okay, the last time you did that right before we went out, you were nodding off by this third song.
Yes. Okay.
And we are not going to have that on our MTV Unplugged show.
Yeah, this is a big deal for us. I get that. I get that.
And besides, I mean, they didn't want to condone what was killing him anyway. And it did kill him.
Man, rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. Man, so, I mean, we're talking about a genre of music that is wrapped up in sadness.
Depression, sadness, heroin, yeah.
I mean, but it's something we enjoy.
Yeah.
Is that kind of effed up to say?
No, it's like I've said a million times. Maybe not a million, but a lot.
Okay.
The old line from Tech 9 is that people dance to my pain.
Yeah. Well, elaborate on that.
Well, that's it. Like, you... As an artist, you put out all this emotion through a song. The worst points in your life come out through a song. In a lot of cases, and people use that as a way of feeling happy. Like, your pain makes other people happy. It's a weird dynamic. It's a weird dichotomy, right? That I'm giving you my pain so that you can feel better.
Damn.
It's crazy. It's crazy how it works, but
why do you think that is, though? What is that in the human psyche? Is to like, hey, I get enjoyment from watching. Damn, there's
a lot of aspects that music do to the brain that are not fully understood.
Dude, let's take music out of it. If that, in a way, that could be messed up. Like people like watching people laugh when they see someone fall. Like I could have just broke my neck. Like, in a way, it's kind of sinister, dude. It
is. It really is. But
and now bringing music back to the clay, it's like, dude, I was putting my life on the line, and you're out there jamming to it. It's like, I want you to cry to this song the same way.
Really? Do you want people to just feel bad too, or do you want them to enjoy it?
Well,
I mean, it's a weird dichotomy. It really is a weird dichotomy. It's a weird thing that happens. Do you want them to feel like, so if I say that the video I put out last, do I want the people to feel all depressed and suicidal listening to that, or do I want them to feel better because of the music that I put out expressing my pain?
I would say 90% of the people would want the people to be better and be have fun while I suffer, basically. But there are some, I think there is some artists out there that could be, especially in the grunge category, especially coming from Seattle and that environment. It's like, hey, this is where I'm from. It's always rainy. It's hell. You know, it's hell. I want you to experience what I'm experiencing through my lyrics.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I would say there's some artists, which I wouldn't say, I say 10%, maybe 5, you know, but a lot of artists, they speak what they see. And you say Tech Nine said, you know, people dance at my pain, and but is that really a bad thing, or is that really a good thing?
No, because music actually helps you relieve some of you. You know, to relate to an artist, you really have to feel some of what they're going through, like in your own life, to really feel it.
Okay.
You know, and that music is an outlet for those emotions.
Yeah.
To get them out of you, so they're not built up inside of you.
Right.
That's why people enjoy blues or enjoy grunge or something like that, you know? Enjoy the most depressing music.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work for everybody. Some people are happy people, and they can't listen to that kind of music because it makes them feel depressed.
Exactly.
And they don't want to feel that.
Right.
But for the people who are depressed, who are going through the same thing that the artist is going through, that music is an outlet. It's an outlet for the artist to help them get it out so it's not pent up inside. It's an outlet for the listener to get that out so that it's not pent up inside.
Right. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so an artist displays their pain to the audience, and it makes both of them feel better in the end.
I agree, man. Like, again, I don't know why more people from Seattle don't, and maybe y'all do, but one of my favorite artists of all time, I've said it before, that comes from Seattle is Elliott Smith. And it's that real... I mean, I don't even know if you would call it grunge. It's just like slow, sad, like you just want to, like, and I love it.
Was he the one, I'm a mess sometimes?
No, that's, it's King's Crossing, remember? I can't prepare for death.
Okay.
But no, it's so sad music, and when I first started hearing it, it's like, okay, I hear Nirvana, and I hear Alice in Chains and all these big grunge bands that come out of Seattle. Why is no one talking about Elliott Smith that performed at the Grammys, who I think his music is the grungiest of the grungiest?
But did he not come out after the grunge scene was dying out?
I think, that's a good, hold on, that's a good question. Let me see this.
Yeah. When was he? Because I don't know much about Elliott Smith.
Huh.
And maybe he was. Maybe he is considered grunge. Who knows?
So his first album was released in 1994. That's grunge era, bro.
Yeah.
That's grunge era.
Yeah, it really is.
And being in Seattle, man, it's almost like, have you been to Seattle?
I've been through there, yes.
Have you you didn't spend
spending a lot of time there, no.
I heard the city's beautiful. I want to go to Space Needle. I heard the people are freaking amazing. Especially I heard they got some really nice like mountains up there, really nice.
That's the Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
I hear it's beautiful.
Think about the giant redwood trees and things like that.
And Sasquatch.
yeah, exactly.
Oh man, yeah, dude. It's the grunge genre is an interesting genre, and it's something that you're right. I mean, whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll play an Alice in Chains, I'll play a Elliott Smith, I'll play a Nirvana to make my day happy, even though they were sad while creating that song. You know, you're right, man. It's an interesting
outlet,
yeah. Well,
definitely, yeah, guys, give us your opinion on it.
Absolutely,
and tell us who invented grunge.
Who was the inventor of grunge? And have y'all heard of Elliott Smith? I want to talk about Elliott Smith too.
Yeah.
But Smart Dog,
what up?
let's get into some OMG and some
WTF.
Let's do it. All right. So my OMG, and if you're new to this, OMG is Oh My Georgia. WTF is
What the Florida.
Yes, because the craziest shit happens in these states.
Yeah.
And it looks like I have already lost it because I've been Googling a lot of things. Go ahead with your WTF if you got
Yeah, we'll start with WTF, man.
All right, go ahead.
This one comes from December 30th of 2014. Someone, it doesn't specifically point out a Florida man in this story. I'm sure the name is somewhere, but Someone apparently called 911 about a PlayStation Network outage. The PSN
Oh,
outage.
I did that. That was me.
You called 911?
I didn't call 911, but I damn sure did. I remember when the PlayStation outage happened.
Yeah.
Dude, I ain't gonna say I almost called 911, but
I wouldn't recommend calling 911 for it. I don't think they're gonna help you too much.
If you were a gamer and when that outage happened, dude, you wanted to punch a hole in something.
I bet.
But go ahead.
I feel like that when YouTube goes out sometimes.
Oh, exactly. Man,
I'm missing something.
And
there.
imagine you playing online with your friends all day, and now it's going. I think it was
gamers
alpha.
get mad after being wrapped up.
Dude. I mean, gamers get mad if they lose one game. Imagine you take out the whole system for 2 weeks. But go ahead.
Was it 2 weeks? It was really that long?
I want to say it was like either 2 weeks to a month. It might have been 2 months.
Well, the Palm County Sheriff's Office took to Twitter over the weekend to share a 911 emergency conversation with a dispatcher had with a concerned citizen. Mm-hmm. What was the nature of the emergency? Well, the caller wanted information about the PlayStation Network and Xbox Live not working outage.
Okay.
On Thursday, the PSN.
Does it have the year?
It's just it was 2014.
Yep, I remember it.
And okay, so this was the transcript from the call. It's just a little short transcript that they put in here. But 911, what is your emergency? Do you know what's going on with the PlayStation and Xbox network being down?
That's awesome.
The dispatcher just responded, no.
Oh wow! I guarantee that a lot of people called.
Yeah, I think there were. I saw when I was looking this up. I actually saw more than one
dude.
story. So they had to put out a notice to the public saying, "Don't call us. We don't have anything to do with it. The police is not going to come fix your outage for you."
Yeah, dude. I see. I can relate to that because I was there. You know, now, all right, hold on. Let's try to defend this caller here for a second. Now, what if this caller was a legitimate gaming engineer, and he's like, well, I can't get in touch with Sony, I can't get in touch with them, but if I call the police and maybe I can help this outage. Hey, you know what's going on with the thing? Well, I mean, you're obviously not going to get some technical answer. Well, yeah, the circuit board on 14 number 36 and your port isn't working. Oh, I'll go fix it. The cop's like, dude, I get off in 5 minutes. I mean, you know, I got to go home.
I don't think I can defend it.
You don't think? Come on, there has to be some logic. Like, try to get. What's the logic that went through his head?
Well, I think he probably tried to call PlayStation
and they
or
didn't.
Xbox.
I did that,
and the lines were probably busy because every gamer in the world was calling at that time. And he's like, "Well, who else can I call?" He may have thought that if I make this an emergency, that they will get in touch with PlayStation and get something worked out.
You're finding some rationale here.
Maybe so.
Man, what the Florida dude? All right, oh my Georgia, smoked up.
What's up?
Woman dials 911 again over bad mugshot. Yes. Okay, here's the question: should we post this mugshot?
Oh man, we used to do that. We used to post crazy.
Should we post this mugshot or no?
I don't know. Can we get away with it now that we're bigger?
Let's not.
When we were smaller, we used to do that. We used to post all kind of mugshots.
Let's not. So if you don't like
guys, you can look it up though.
Yeah, go to check out some of our older podcasts.
Yeah,
this is the newer readers.
And you can look up this story to see the mugshot.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, it says if you don't like your mugshot, here's a surefire way to get it redone. Georgia woman was so upset when she saw her terrible mugshot in a local broadsheet, she dialed 911 to report her displeasure, according to Barrow County. Oh my God!
This is Barrow. That's like Winder.
Yeah. Cop said she of Commerce called in the emergency on Sunday when her face appeared in the bad and busted. Y'all might have the the bad and busted is right.
Yeah.
Her face appeared.
That's the little paper they used to send out.
Yeah. Her face appered in the bad and busted mugshot paper at a local gas station with a circle around it that said "absolutely hideous."
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wait, it
was done by
somebody wrote that on there. Okay. I feel bad for her now.
Yeah, but It is a pretty.
It's a pretty horrible mugshot. Yes.
She contacted 911 earlier today in reference to being upset about a picture. An officer stated in the report, "I informed her to contact 911 for emergencies, injuries, or violences, not beauty pictures." This is great. Oh my George.
Now that brings up the question: has anybody ever had a good mugshot?
Oh, dude, there was a guy that got a modeling contract. He got a modeling contract. I mean, the ladies are like,
I think I might know that story.
Yeah. He got a modeling
Yeah,
contract.
there was the guy with the blue eyes and he was real light skinned.
Yes.
And everybody was like, he was being shared all over the internet, like the most beautiful criminal ever or whatever.
That dude had a great mugshot. And
that's true.
You know,
that's true. But 99% of the people are not happy with their mugshot or their license picture, for that matter.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you? You know, I read something somewhere as to why people don't like the way they look at pictures is because it flips it. You know, it's not. You know what I'm talking about? So your brain, you look in a mirror.
Yeah, that's true. That could be an aspect. Yeah.
That's what they say. It's you're used to seeing yourself this way, but
when you see it the opposite, you're like, wow, I'm not symmetrical or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, I'm offset.
Yeah.
But I think there's also another aspect that when someone takes a selfie, they get the angle just right. They're looking, you know, they're fixing their hair. They're throwing a filter on these days, you know. But when you take that mugshot or that picture for your license, you don't get to see what it looks like.
No, until and you
get
one
it back
picture.
And you're like, oh God!
Oh, true story, bruh. I dated a girl, and she hated she didn't like to look in the mirror much. I mean, very beautiful girl, beautiful girl. But she hated her license picture so much she scratched it out, completely scratched it out. I'm like, you know, this is illegal.
That's not gonna work
if you get pulled over. Anymore. I mean, she absolutely hated. I mean, we could go deeper into why, but she. I'm like, dude, you don't look bad. And she's like, I don't like the way I look on my picture. It's the psychological thing.
That's absolutely psychological for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, that's oh my Georgia, man. You want to tell them about how they can call in and
yeah, definitely, guys. If you have a crazy story from your hometown, record a voice clip of telling us the story. Try to keep it, 2-3 minutes, something short, and send it to the email down in the description. And you could be played on this show.
Absolutely. And today we got one from a loyal trash talker, Jason Seats. Let's see what old Jason Seats has to say here.
Hey, this is Jason Seats from Morganfield, Kentucky. I want to share a quick paranormal story with you involving my 2-year-old granddaughter at the time. In 2016, my granddaughter was 2. My father passed away in 2001. My granddaughter had never met my father before, and she'd barely even seen pictures of him. One day we were playing tea party in the floor, and she kept pouring tea to this imaginary person.
Oh, wow.
One day I asked her, I said, who is this imaginary person? And she kept telling me, it's him. So I let it go, because children basically know what's going on. So one day we were actually leaving the house, and I have a military wall with a picture of my father. So as we were walking out the door, she kept telling me, Poppy, that's him, that's him. Come to find out, this imaginary friend all along was my father. Wow. And ever since then, all we could do in that house is feel his presence and letting us know that he was safe. Later on, and guys, you guys.
Well, thanks for that, Jason.
Yeah.
God dang.
Wow. That's crazy.
You know what though? They say, he said his daughter was very young at the time.
Yeah.
And they say some kids have that sense to where they haven't been told, no, that's not real, or your brain hasn't been altered by the adult life or the media that's been portrayed. So they have a lot of people say that children have that sense to where they can see.
They can see beyond the veil.
Yeah, you'll see babies just bust out laughing.
Oh yeah.
That's because grandmama over there tickling her.
Yeah.
I mean,
it reminds me of that the meme of the cat that came out recently, and it's fighting in the air, is just messing with something, and they said it was right after the dog had died.
Oh yeah.
So they assumed that the cat was playing with the dog after the dog had already passed
away.
Yeah.
I mean, so in Jason's story, and Jason, thank you so much for calling
definitely.
in. By the way, you have an amazing voice too. You should do you speak well. You should do some radio or something. Yeah, podcast.
Yeah.
But no, what do you think about that? I mean,
well, a lot of people believe that kids have the ability to see beyond the veil, and they can see the energy that is left behind by a loved one passing,
But
it seems to be a consensus that the kids lose that at 7 years old.
Yes, they always say 7. Yes.
Yeah, from the studies, I don't know what the significance is of 7. Maybe it's brain development.
Maybe
just an average time that kids eventually start. Maybe it's something subconscious where we block out things that are not supposed to be there.
Right.
Like maybe as kids we all see things that are not supposed to be there, but you're told so many times that's not real.
To where you start to believe it.
Yeah, because kids have imaginary friends and things like that.
In
like
this
story.
In this case here, yeah.
And maybe imaginary friends most of the times are actually something they are seeing. But our subconscious eventually blocks all that out because we are told over and over again that that's not supposed to be there.
But now in this particular case, she's having a tea party, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, hey, it's nobody. And then when she walks by the picture, the military picture, and said, "Rest in peace to your dad," she's like, "That's him. That's him." I mean, that's pretty crazy, dude. I mean,
it is crazy.
And see,
another crazy phenomena is that the kids who see that at that age after 7, they don't remember seeing it anymore.
None of it.
And maybe that's maybe that's just transcending. Maybe that's when you're at a certain age, your entire spirit, your entire being, your chi, everything has not quite all injected into your body yet. The energy from the mainframe, or whatever, from the algorithm, whatever this reality actually is, that you don't receive everything into your body that you're going to have until you're 7, around that age.
Damn. Man,
that before 7, you're still connected to something from the beyond.
So Jason, I don't know how old your daughter is, but if I had a child and my daughter said that, "Hey, this is my granddad," or "This is my dad, and this is who I've been playing with," if I had a child that went through that, and because the age is 7, I would remind that child every day, "Hey, do you remember doing?"
Yeah, you would try.
I would do it every day until she's 7, and then you.
That would be an experiment.
That would be a great experiment. On the 7th birthday, she's like, "What are you talking about?" But I've been reminding you every day since you were 4.
Yeah.
I
wonder also, if anybody has that situation, try that just to see what happens. And I wonder if it is instantaneous, to where they turn 7, they're like, "I don't remember that at all."
That's crazy.
Or if it's just something that gradually happens, and it's usually complete by the age of 7.
Yeah. Well, you also look at like stories. Like there was a story with this kid. I want to say it was in India, where he had I think he got like stabbed or burnt or something
in a previous life.
Yeah, well, the baby was born and he had a birthmark.
Oh yeah. And he actually told the parents of what happened to him
in his previous life, and there was actually a lot of validity to it.
Yeah, and the birthmarks lined up with what happened in the previous life.
Man, we do see this now that we've started the podcast back, dude. We're gonna have to start talking about past lives.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
definitely. It's great talking about music, but yeah, it'd be fun to get back into some paranormal things.
Next
esoteric
episode.
things.
Next episode, we could talk about something in that alley.
Hey, if you guys want to record a clip that we could do a whole show around, give us a clip and we will play it at the beginning of the show.
Yes.
And then we will do the show around that.
Great idea. Idea. Man, this was a great episode here, man.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else, Mondo?
I think that's it for today.
Absolutely, guys. Again, like Smokey said, if you want to be on next podcast, just send us a quick voicemail or voice message. Leave it down, or send it to the
email
at the bottom, and you will be on next episode. Give us some topics for next Trash Talkers podcast. And with that being said, my name's Behringer Hollywood 6. Bye.
I am Larry Smokey Ramirez Cowan,
and we are
over
and
out.
Deuces.